welcome back. Time for an installment of Healthy Living. Mikkel Neal is an Associate Vice President for Patient Care Services, and we're here to talk about Baby Safety Month. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
What are some of the top things people should know about when it comes to keeping those babies safe?
Well, there are several things, actually. We think of them in different categories. Certainly car seat safety. We can talk more in detail about these things, but car seat safety, feeding safety, sleep safety. We talk a lot about baby-proofing our homes and emergency preparedness, certainly. But, you know, car seat safety, we want to make sure that people have the right size car seat. Even a short distance, you know, babies and children need to be in a car seat at all times. That's critical in case of an accident. So making sure they have the right size car seat for their baby's height, weight, and age. You know, reading the owner's manual and your vehicle's owner's manual is important, I think, to make sure that the car seat is fitting properly. And we really don't want car seats to move more than 1 inch in any direction. And making sure there's a real tight, snug fit to that harness is important for car seats. When we think in terms of baby-proofing our home, I think there's several things, right? And certainly outlet covers. We want to make sure that people address their electrical outlets. We want to make sure that people have the sliding covers or a box type cover to keep those little fingers out of the outlets. And as babies become more mobile, they certainly become more curious, and so their development advances, and it's the challenge for parents, I think, to keep up with that, but we need to stay one step ahead. And so electrical outlets, you know, certainly making sure that we have gates at the bottom and top of stairs, making sure that blinds, there's no cords that babies can get at, certainly cause for strangulation, and just other ways that people can baby-proof their homes to make sure it's safe for their children.
What are some of the things that when people do have to come, you know, bring a baby to be looked at, come to the hospital, what are some of the things that you're dealing with? How can we prevent those things? I know you just hit on some of the things to avoid, but what are some of the things that you deal with?
Probably some of the top things are falls. Falls, and you know, we don't think in terms of, people sometimes don't think in terms of if a baby rolls off a changing table, that's a fall, but it is. And so babies fall off changing tables, chairs, high chairs, fall down the stairs. So we want to make sure that those things are, that the parents are always, that you never leave a child or a baby on an unattended on an elevated surface ever, because we want to prevent falls whenever possible. Choking is another one we see a lot, unfortunately. We want to make sure, you know, as I talked about how curious they are, they get in mom or caregiver's purse, and they get batteries, and they get medicine, and they get other things. And so we want to make sure that people really are protective of that stuff and make sure that those things are out of those little fingers, and making sure that we're not giving hard, round food. You know, we know about grapes, hot dogs, popcorn, that type of thing. And then the other thing we see a lot of, not a lot of, but we see some is poisoning. And so that goes back to the medicines, household cleaners, that type of thing, making sure those things are out of reach.
One thing that I look back on, and I've been through it, but safe sleep, it's so easy to think that one thing is okay. It's so tranquil to have a baby on you, but then next thing you know, you nod out and not safe. What do people need to know about, you know, safe sleep practices?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into safe sleep, and safe sleep is really the practice of making sure that your infant or child's environment is safe, and that includes a lot of different things. And so we want to make sure that your baby is in a crib or a bassinet with a firm, you know, mattress, flat, firm mattress. You know, we love to put stuffed animals and other things in with our babies, but we have to make sure that those things are not in the crib while they're sleeping. Those are a suffocation hazard. Even hats, you know, we know that babies lose temperature, their body temp out through their top of their head, and so we are sort of tempted to put hats on while they're sleeping, but that's not necessary, and in fact, it's a risk because those hats move around and can obstruct their breathing. So certainly that safe sleep. And we like to say share a room, not a bed. It's very tempting, as you say, to sleep with your infant or your child, and that's a real risk. And it's especially devastating when a child is fatally injured due to, you know, falling down in the gap between the bed and the wall or the bed and the bassinet. So share a room, not a bed. That's sort of our mantra. And making sure that all those safe sleep practices. We have a lot of experts at the hospital who are happy to educate and answer questions anytime.
It's a lot of great information. We just hit on a lot of it, but if you want to circle back to getting some more of it, northernlighthealth.org is a great place to get all that information. I know we just ran through it, but it's nobody's got all the answers, but you guys have most of them, right? Yeah. You know, so it's a great tool for keeping those babies safe. Thank you so much for coming through.
My pleasure.